Hey Bears, so today we are going to talk about how to solve two-step equations. So last week we kind of focused on these one-step equations. Today we're going to talk about what happens when there are two steps. So the very first thing we want to do is, of course, still draw our line. So our goal is to keep everything on the left side and the right side equal to each other. Now the next part is we still want this x all by itself. But right now this x is attached to a 4. We know that means it's being multiplied together. But I can still get rid of this 2 like we would in a one-step equation. So the opposite of adding 2 is taking 2 away. We will do that to both sides. Now we are left with negative 4x equals 8. And now we're left with an equation that looks just like a one-step, like we had been doing. So we would take both of these sides, divide them by negative 4, divide this by negative 4, divide by negative 4. And on this side, we are left with x, and 8 divided by negative 4 equals negative 2. We could also still do our check step. So we had 4x equals 10. Plug negative 2 in for x. Negative 4 times negative 2 is 8, plus 2 does in fact equal 10. We solved that correctly. So let's do the same thing here. We have a subtraction, so we'll draw our line, keep everything equal on both sides. So the first thing, we want to get this 21 on both sides. We're left with 9x because our 21s will cancel. This equals 81. We divide both sides by 9. Oops. Divide by 9. Divide by 9. X indeed equals 9. So we plug that back in. 9 times 9 is 81. 81 minus 21 does give us a value of 60. So let's try one more. This time we have an adding 5. So I want to go ahead, go down, straight down the middle with our equal sign. We will subtract 5 from both sides. Minus 5, minus 5. This side is left with negative 2x equals 13. Divide this side by negative 2. We also want to divide this side by negative 2. I will show you the two options that we will see when we are solving for x. The very first option is that we would just leave this as a fraction. We would say it's negative 13 over 2. Or we would change that into a decimal and say this is negative 6.5. I will say that this first one, just leaving this in fraction form, remember we did negative 13 divided by 2, that's where that came from, is the most common way that you were going to see it. Now, if this was, let's say, the thing was 14 over 2, of course we would simplify that. There is no way to simplify this, so we would just leave it in its fractional form.